you ready for this? I'm ready for this.
I'm ready for this.
CORY!
What's up? What's going on, man? How are you? You got more stuff in the trunk?
Nope.
Right on.
No, sure.
Alright.
All right, guys. This is CORY. I guess they're gonna learn about him in the pod a little bit. You ready for this?
Yeah.
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 Let's get it. See you guys in the pod.
All right, so, man, episode 14. Welcome back.
It's in the works.
It is in the works. Man, we're churning them out, bro. I know I've said it before, churning them out like butter, but, bro, it's almost on some Amish level. So we're just churning these things
And
out.
I mean, I do want to say number 14 is a special pod. Unfortunately, Xander couldn't be here today, everybody. He's got some obligations elsewhere.
Yes.
Out of the country.
Out of the country. We're making moves, people.
Yeah.
That is what we are doing. We are making moves internationally, too. But your boys got you. We're locking it down. And we probably have one of the most... I don't know. I want to say special guests that we've
I'd
had.
say influential,
Influential, special, a plethora of different words that we can throw at him. But we actually have a real life hero sitting with us, Mr. CORY SATO. Please, thank you for being here. Welcome down to the pod. Thank you so much. So, CORY is a real life firefighter, hero extraordinaire.
That is true. Hero, not so much. Firefighter.
You know, man. Regardless, I know no one likes to kind of big up themselves. You know, every once in a while you got to. I know a lot of people don't like to do that, man. But seriously, if there's first responders out there that are watching this right now, we thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We are 100% grateful for the sacrifice that you make. That thankfulness from all of us goes to the family as well, because sacrificing that time is something that it's a family thing. So we really do appreciate you. We appreciate your service, man. And thank you for doing everything that you do, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Man,
thank you for even bringing that up, because it's so true. 100%.
Yeah.
The family and the guys, the girls, it's for them. One of the reasons that I'm here talking to you in front of a camera and having this recorded is hopefully that it can help at least one person.
Man.
Yeah, I love that
Thank
mindset.
you for jumping right into it.
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Well, you're no stranger to helping people out, and we've got a chance to spend a little bit of time with this man and get it into his story, and it's an amazing story. We're going to definitely break that down and unpack that for you guys today. But, you know, you're no stranger to being a first responder, to being on the forefront of helping your community. One of the things I remember you talking about was actually getting involved into the first responder game at a very early age. So can you kind of unpack that, where that kind of hunger and that desire to serve your community stemmed from, and how you actually got involved? Because you were making some moves at a very young age in the first responder, career and community, right?
And while you do that, I'm going to try this Jocko Fuel protein shake.
And that's another thing. Shout out to Jocko Fuel, one of the sponsors
Fuel.
of today's episode. We'll break that down a little more, too.
Huge part of the story, and I'm sure we'll get there.
Yes, sir. But anytime Ethan's got snacks in front of him, that's just going to take priority.
I'm sorry, guys. I got to move the mic out of the way probably for this one.
We're in a bulking phase right now.
Oh,
this is good.
Bulking.
Yeah.
Good. I should have brought more for you.
I'm sure he'll take mine or yours.
All good.
Yeah.
Bully.
Yeah.
Go ahead and answer that, and then I want to.
Yeah, no, very early age. I started as a fire explorer, but where that even stemmed from was my dad he's a retired fireman, retired after 28 years. Started that at Ontario Fire Department when I was 1. Me and my mom actually stood in line. She reminded me that we stood in line for his application while he was at another job.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
For him to apply there. And then, but before that, where that even came from, like the service is deeply rooted from my mom. She always wanted me and my brother and sister in something community oriented. It was Boy Scouts for a little bit. It was, donating things to charity, going and handing out blankets at homeless shelters or during Thanksgiving, things like that.
Yeah.
And she came from a low-income family and from poorer roots, and she always wanted to give back. And she now runs a nonprofit for Navy. She's a Navy veteran, and her nonprofit was Veteran Sisters. She actually just stepped down and is kind of retiring out and being a grandma now, but she was in the Navy and wanted us to do something like that, have some kind of service related, give back to the community.
Okay.
And sort of instilled those things in us at an early age. I was in Sea Cadets. My brother was in Sea Cadets for a little bit.
Your brother was in what?
What is that?
Sea Cadets?
Sea Cadets.
It's like the Boy Scouts for the Navy.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So I think I started that when I was 12, 10, 11.
Wow.
And it was pretty cool. You gain some independence. You go to like little boot camps they start off as like weekend trips, and then they end up being like 2-week trips across the country. Went to like Virginia, Texas, the Great Lakes, all for different trainings for the Sea Cadets. And that was like the jumping off point for like the service. That got totally, it was everything a little boy wanted to do.
Hoorah from the moment you stepped out there.
I mean, you were a part of a group and a family, and you had all these like-minded individuals, and people just wanted to do good, and the kids that we're surrounded with wanted to join the military and serve their country, and just they were all wanting to do good.
That's so infectious.
Yeah,
so
it is.
infectious. Yeah.
And that's where it all started. And then Fire Explorers. My dad kind of supported and not pushed in any kind of way, but the one thing that he's helped me with was, hey man, maybe you should go check out Fire Explorers, because he knew that I liked Sea Cadets so much, and he knew that I wanted to transition to becoming a fireman. And I saw that was going to be more realistic. I saw everything that he had in his life, where it was, we got to go to the station, I got to see his friends, and we all went camping together.
Yeah.
And went to the desert together, and his like extended friends and that community, and then his days off, that became more important, when I reached the high school age. Like, oh man, you can have another life instead of just working all the time. Like having a really cool job in the military, that'd be badass. That's a super cool job.
Yeah.
But then you have to be gone for a long time. Like, that's really cool for some people, but at that point in my life, I was like, no, one of the biggest things that I want to do is I want to have a family.
Yeah.
And at a young age, I knew that I wanted to be a dad.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the things that, besides being a husband, being a father is one of the coolest things. It's one of the things.
And shout out to your dad, because that really takes a strong man to show you, like, man, this is good. Like, I want this, but I want it for me. Yeah. And so that really takes a strong father figure to instill that at an early age. I'm not really sure what I want to do, but I want to be like him. So shouts out to your pops.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the only thing, looking back on it now, because I was frustrated at the time, but that's the only way that he's essentially helped me, besides having a phone number to call. Like, I now work at the department that he retired from.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
It
That's
was
crazy.
a complete honor and privilege to get to work with him at the same time. It was, his last year was my very first year there. It was my probationary year.
That's
And so the last 3 months of his career, before he retired, I got to be on the same crew and the same shift as him.
What a legacy.
So he was the engineer, so he was the driver, and I was a probationary fireman. I had another firefighter partner and a captain, and we were on the same crew. We got to go to some really cool calls, some crazy car accidents, a couple fires. We have some cool pictures. So we've never been closer since then. That's the closest we've ever been, was that point.
That must have been so cool to get paid. To get
To
paid
get paid.
to just work with pops and go see some cool stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and then you also get to see a different side of pops too, when you're encountered with people who look at him in a different light, because we see our parents as dad and mom.
Yes. Yeah.
And that, like you said, there's a life outside of work and then home. We only see that one side. So when you actually see how many people actually respect the people that you love and show them respect and how they interact with other people, it's almost like you gain a whole new respect for them, and you get a whole new perspective on how great they actually really are, and the impact that they make. It's not just in my life, you know, but I see Dad actually impactful at the fire station and with his buddies and within the community. I can only imagine the sense of pride that kind of gave you to catch some of that wind, even if it was only for a few amount of months. But that must have been something incredible to witness, right?
Yeah. No, it was awesome. And getting paid, dude, that is that cherry on top.
Yeah.
And working at Ontario, that is like the dream department. That's where I wanted to be for a really long time.
Was it just because Pops worked there, or is there something special about Ontario?
You know, initially, of course, it was because that's where my dad worked, and I grew up watching Backdraft, and Dad worked there. I wanted to work there, and then my brother wanted to be a firefighter for a long time.
Yeah.
Until he realized that that was just a pipe dream because of what I was doing, because of what my dad was doing, and he found his own way. But that's a whole nother story.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. But dude, the fire thing, it's been awesome. Doing it, the cherry on top, I used to do it for free. I mean, doing it as an explorer, got into the Fire Explorers, absolutely loved it. I have mentors from the Fire Explorers. Oh, so that's the one thing that my dad helped me with. He encouraged me to go to the local fire station. Any little boys watching this, hopefully I don't curse too much, but go to the local fire station and check out the Fire Explorers. It's a great program. I think it's from 13 to 21 years old. And the mentors and friends that I made, I still talk to them. One of my mentors, shout out Scott Herbert, he might listen to this, actually. I'll tell him about it. I still talk to him, and he was the post advisor, and I still go to him for advice. I went to him for advice in my fire career. And those people are all along the way. There's people from Sea Cadets, there's people from Fire Explorers, and then after Fire Explorers, I was a volunteer, did it for free. Did it for free as a Fire Explorer, you know, and then a volunteer where you now become, you do all the same things as a paid firefighter. You go inside fires, you put out the vehicle fires, you go to all the same medical calls. You build all those same scars that they build, seeing the things that we see are part of the mental health, excuse me. Jocko goes a little carbonated.
Yeah.
All good.
You're fine.
So, tell us about one of the first calls that you vividly remember where you're like, hell yeah, this is for me. This is exactly what I signed up for. Whether it was something that was either kind of shocking or something just memorable that was just like, yeah, like we saved a life or we put out a fire. What's one of the calls that just was like, yes, it just affirmed you doing what you're doing in the fire department?
Affirmed, you know, now that you say like affirmed what I'm doing, there's been a lot of hard calls, but one of the ones that affirmed was really cool. My mom, for the Navy, she was a combat photographer. One of the coolest jobs I think that you could do for the Navy or for any military. You get to go and witness and get attached to whatever little team and get to document and get to show their story and things like that. But she was also a volunteer for the Riverside County Fire Department, and she was riding along with me on my engine when I worked here in Sun City as a professional firefighter. She was taking pictures and documenting for the county, and I invited her to come ride out with me. I knew her background, and I knew that she'd be safe and would be able to handle everything that we do. And that's one of the busiest fire stations in the state, actually. I think it's still within the top 10 easily. It's got to be. But it's busy. And she came out, rode out for 12 hours, and she got to see quite a few different things. But one of the things that she got to see and document and take pictures and like be just the fly on the wall, and one of the coolest calls, it was a full arrest. That means that they have no pulse and they're not breathing, so they are dead. This person, I don't remember the specifics. I've been with Ontario for 7 years, and this was before Ontario.
Wow.
10 years ago, maybe, now. And This person was in full arrest, and my mom was there. And those calls don't happen every day, but they do happen quite a bit. And especially in that area, it's an older population,
Retirement community.
a retirement community, 55 and older. That's why it's one of the reasons why it's so busy. Uh, I'm also a paramedic. So I was an EMT, worked on an ambulance for a while in Orange County, and then worked on an ambulance here as an EMT while I went to medic school, and then became a paramedic on the ambulance. And then after a few years, then I got hired with the fire department professionally. But so she was with me on this call, and I was the main paramedic, and I had two other firefighters. One was a driver who is my supervisor, and another firefighter partner. And then eventually the ambulance crew shows up, and that's one paramedic and one EMT.
Okay.
Okay.
So one patient, and then the patient's significant other was also there. And we do all of our things, and it's like a well orchestrated plan. Everybody has their job. Everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. You don't have to talk very much. Very few directions need to be given, and it's like a pit crew. Everybody has their specific job, and they know what to do. And somebody's getting information from the significant other. The medic is doing things like placing an airway, checking breathing, delegating who's going to be doing chest compressions, who's going to be putting on the monitor, who's going to be handing out different things, and setting everything up. And one firefighter isn't saying anything. They're just following directions, and they're making sure that everything's going on. And everybody's kind of watching out, making sure that everything's going the way that it should, and everybody's a set of eyes and helps each other. And she got to witness that. And we were lucky enough that this person hadn't been down for that long. And we got what's called ROSC, return of spontaneous circulation. So their hearts started beating on their own. They started breathing on their own. And she got to witness that and was actually taking pictures. It happens. I think our rates are coming up, but 15% of the time, I think, people were getting ROSC on people that are down.
Wow.
So it's not very often, and she got to be there. And my mom got to see me in action and doing my thing.
It's memorable.
It's one of the coolest, that you ask. It's one of the coolest things.
That's incredible.
One of the coolest times on a call.
Man, that's quite a story.
That's
and
crazy.
that's one of quite a few amazing stories that that we've really gotten a chance to kind of once over the span of weightlifting and just kind of getting a chance to know you. And that's another thing we really want to talk about is your physical all of the energy that you've put towards your physical fitness and your health, and how important that is to you. And it kind of was a bit of a catalyst to launch some ideas into some projects for you. Let's talk a little bit about that, if you wouldn't mind kind of breaking that down. As a firefighter, it's an extremely laborious task when you're out there with all of the stuff and all the gear and just the amount of stress and things like that. Let's talk about your overall health and your fitness, and where you kind of started out as a firefighter, where your health and fitness was. Did you maintain, because you're obviously in great shape right now, were you maintaining that good shape through good exercise and stuff? Were you kind of plateauing, hitting peaks and valleys and stuff? Let's talk about your fitness journey, both through your profession and just on your own.
Yeah, that's a great question. No, I am right now in the best shape of my life, hands down. That's every day I'm trying to get better. I'm still trying to get better. Today we went on a hike, me and my family.
Nice.
Had a picnic on the top of a mountain, and kids and I got to climb some rocks and do some things. And so not just getting healthier that way, but getting better with my family and those relationships. But no, I haven't always been like this. My physical health has never been this important to me. Now I look at it like it's my job. It's my job as a father for my children to see me consciously working to get better and healthier, and it's proving and showing that I want to be around for them, and I get to involve them in that process. Whereas before being a firefighter, I've always been capable, but I was heavy. In 2007, I think my heaviest was right around there, 2009-ish. I weighed 278 pounds.
Ooh.
Yeah. And now, I think today I'm 196.
Wow.
196, and I'm feeling strong.
Good
Good for you, man.
Good for you.
It's,
Right on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's weird saying that. It feels like I'm bragging. And I don't ever want it to be like that, but it feels great. It really does. It's life-changing. Feel more confident, have more energy, get to connect with my family more, it feels like. I am a white belt in jiu-jitsu. I joke around that I'm the longest white belt ever because I started a long time ago and I barely go, but my daughter decided that she wanted to do her first tournament. My daughter and my son do jiu-jitsu also. And I was like, all right, honey, you know what? I'll do it with you. I believe in leading by example.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I work out. It promotes them to work out, and they get to work out with us, and we involve them.
Yeah.
And because I do jiu-jitsu, she started jiu-jitsu, both my kids actually, and my daughter suggested, hey, I want to do a tournament. And I was like, I've never done one either, so I'll do one with you. It'll be good motivation for me to get back into the gym regularly. And I have been, which has been awesome. And it's just been one other connection, one more way to connect with the family. But getting back to like the physical fitness, I did jiu-jitsu when I was heavy and out of shape. I mean, I've always been capable. I've always been very capable. Actually, when I was on probation, I wasn't fat. I was heavy, just a husky guy. My captain on probation, he tested me. He put me through some pretty good workouts, and just grit and determination and, never give up attitude.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way. And
Yeah, really does.
and especially in a department that doesn't lower standards at all. There's
Yeah.
a standard and a bar that's kept, and it's kept
Crack
high.
it, bro. Crack it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
dude,
guys.
Get some.
Sorry, I didn't want to do that.
Speaking of that energy,
Yeah,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm going to try this one.
yeah, it's just a department that holds a standard. So I mean,
Right.
always capable. I know that, but I could have been better. I'm glad that I'm getting better now. I could have been better then, for sure.
I think Ethan likes the drink.
It is
that the lemon
damn
lime?
good, man. It is.
Lemon lime,
This is sour apple.
sour apple. I told you.
Yeah,
good.
you were right. Sour apple sometimes is too much.
Uh-huh.
This is perfect. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, this is good.
Clean energy.
And just so you know, we'll do either on his channel or just on this one here, we'll do testing of energy drinks, and you just kind of
nice.
waterfall it and kind of give it a little score.
We do like a little 1 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, while it's fresh, bro, you want to just give us a quick little. What's your
man.
Sorry to
score, bro?
detour the conversation.
No,
guys.
yeah,
My mouth
let's
was
hear it.
getting parched. I was like, I gotta try this.
What's your
And what are
score,
you
bro?
gonna drink right now?
This is the milk.
This is the milk. What
Milk.
flavor is that?
Banana cream, dude.
Banana
this is my favorite.
cream. Yeah, it's been his favorite
I
for
think
a
I'll have a
minute.
sip too. I got the straight chocolate. We're going for it. So
I just drank that. I just downed it.
I know.
It's gone.
It's good, though,
Down the
right?
hatch. Yeah. It's good.
yeah, this was actually really good. So.
It's good.
Good.
What's your score on the Jocko Energy Sour Apple, which again isn't normally Ethan's favorite, but what you got on the score? 1 to 10. What you got?
It's just the ingredients are way different than than the ones over there, right?
Yeah.
There's artificial flavoring in it.
Okay.
100%. This has no artificial flavors. Right? I just saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Monk fruit?
it's naturally yeah, exactly. Shoot, dude.
you got, man?
With that in mind, probably like out of the whole lineup, I'd probably give this like an 8.6.
8.6.
8.6.
That's a strong score, bro.
It is.
It's pretty good when there's no sugar.
I know.
No
Yes.
real
No. It is.
sugar.
The pink lemonade. That one's my favorite so far.
Dude, talk
Yeah,
about the
that
milk
one's
real
su-
quick.
That one's super good. Huh?
Talk about the milk. If you were gonna give that one a score, Corey,
Oh, okay.
because Corey just had a
Oh,
sip of the milk. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you?
If
score
I would
on-
give it a score,
Yeah. What's your score on the banana cream?
dude, I think that's one of my favorite proteins that I've ever had.
Is it in the 9s?
Yeah.
Easy.
Yep.
Man,
Yep.
that was
And
so
then there's
Yeah,
a,
that was a quick
there's
response. He's like,
a
yes,
powder
Mom. Yep.
version. There's a powder version, and we mix it in like yogurts and stuff for desserts.
There's a powder version of the Jocko.
So
Jocko protein. Yep. The
Oh
milk.
dang!
The malt
Okay.
comes in a powder version. Man, see, we're gonna be breaking a lot down for you guys. We got a
Yeah.
special guest, man. This isn't just happenstance. We're sipping on this stuff here,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, no,
We
yeah.
got some real stuff to break down and unpack. But man, 8.6, right?
8.6.
8.6,
Yeah, for
solid.
sour apple, which isn't even like my favorite flavor, but it was very intriguing because I
I
was
know,
like,
right?
let me see what this is all about.
Yeah,
Definitely,
man.
I would drink this 10 times out of 10 though.
Yeah, this is really
100%.
good. So the chocolate is extremely rich. It's really it's actually really good. I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna give this like a 8.3.
Okay.
And I don't think I had the protein. I think I just had a sip of the protein last time. But I've also had the Arnold Palmer Energy by
Oh, yeah,
Jocko,
the Go.
and that is really good. I'd probably give that one like an
Iced
8.6.
tea
Was
lemon.
it? Okay.
It was
okay.
really, really
I
good.
haven't
But I
tried
like
it.
lemon. I like iced tea. So if you're an iced tea drinker,
Dude, we got time. You're gonna have multiples.
Oh
I
shit.
brought-
we're gonna
I
be
think I brought
freaking
it.
out by the time this thing
Yeah.
is done, man. We're just gonna be
We're gonna-
shaking up a storm.
We'll see. We'll see if
And
it's
then
clean.
real
Just keep
quick-
drinking them.
Yeah.
Clean fuel, high
we're gonna
energy.
we're not gonna be able to leave here till like 10 p.m. It's
Yeah,
gonna
well,
be pumping iron.
hey, we may have another episode for Ethan Heath.
It's a quiet Sunday. Nobody's here.
Yeah, I know.
It's
yeah.
kind of hit or
Just tough.
miss. It's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes we'll have people and it's just crowded, and we have to scoot things a little bit forward more for other people to be able
Okay.
to work out. But now, today, it's actually perfect, man. I think
nice.
everyone knew that we had a special guest coming in here
Done.
today.
Closed it down.
Don, real quick, I know you tried the vanilla one. What's your score, real quick, just so the people can set. All right, Don
9.
gives the vanilla protein a
nine.
9.
Vanilla
You know,
is
man,
good,
of little
dude.
words, but that's a powerful score.
Man of yeah.
Man, a few words, but that's a powerful score, man. I appreciate that.
I'm glad. I had to bring him in on that one.
Absolutely. So, I mean, as far as getting back to the whole fitness element of your life and the transformation you're making, which is it's freaking amazing, man. Like, what a transformation. And that really resonates a lot with me because I have kids too, and it's nice to be able to do things where you know that I'm protecting them, I am providing a good example, and it's a good feeling, you know, to stay healthy for your kids and having them look up to you in a certain light. That's also nice as well.
Yeah.
But talk to us about your transition from the health game, the fitness game, losing weight, and then your discovery of the importance of recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And the because a lot of people right now, I think COVID was kind of a catalyst that launched people into a healthier kind of avenue of their life, from just sitting down and watching TV and Netflix and chilling and binging and all that stuff. I think a lot of people kind of hit a point in during COVID where like, dude, I got to do something. I got to get off my butt. We've had multiple guests even say that
Matisse,
say. Even saying that, and he's a physical trainer, that it was COVID that kind of got me up into this whole thing, the fitness game. But a lot of people are in that situation. They're realizing the benefits of working out, but a lot of them don't know the benefits of the recovery aspect of it. So break down, because you know more about that than I do, and I've already learned so much just from knowing you for such a short amount of time. But let's talk about the recovery aspect, how you kind of embarked upon that, how you discovered that, and what it means to you, and maybe we can start unpacking a little bit about how that's a catalyst for the next season and chapter of your life. But let's talk about the recovery process, man.
That's a huge layer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get right into it with one of the biggest reasons that I started getting healthy was for mental health. My little brother died. He died just about 3 years ago, October 3rd of 21. He was in a car accident, solo vehicle car accident in Orange County. Luckily, nobody else got hurt, but he died instantly. It was like 5 in the afternoon, something like that. I didn't find out until the next morning. My mom called me at like 4:30. That's actually my anniversary with my wife. 10/4/13 is when we got married. And so we had just gotten home from an anniversary vacation, like a weekend away. And we got home, and I was waking up. I had my alarm set to wake up to go to work at 5 a.m., and my mom called me right before my alarm woke up. And told me what had happened. And that devastated me, man. I'll never forget that moment. That's for sure. But it was rough for 6 weeks. That day, 10/4, I had to call my captain to tell him that I wasn't coming to work.
Sure.
There was no way that I could come in, and nobody would expect that. And I called him and barely made it through, saying my little brother died.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll be there as soon as I can. No other questions asked. And he said, I'll take care of everything. And him and my chief showed up. I called him at 5:30, and they were there before 8 a.m. They were there to make sure that I was okay, number one. And then they were going to make sure that anything needed to get done, therapists needed to get called. That process started. My captain was also the union president, so that helped. And it just showed that the department was going to be there for me. Day one, hour one, and they have been ever since.
It's incredible.
One of the reasons why, I should probably take a breath.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Take all the time you need, man.
Yeah, take all the time you need.
One of the reasons why I'm good to go now is because the department's been there to support me the way that they have, which has been awesome. I'm very lucky. So, yeah, the shout out to the department. Thank you guys.
100%.
My Chief Williams, and my Captain Fugate, my crew. Everybody's been awesome.
Yeah, for that exemplary display of brotherhood, man.
Yeah.
You
100%.
never really. It's unfortunately sometimes it's when shit hits the fan that we don't like to be in those situations, but that's when you kind of really figure out who are the real ones around you.
Absolutely.
And the ones that are the talkers, and it's nice to know that there's action behind kind words. It's good to see that, but then to know it's from people that actually are literally somebody that will have your back in the field, because it's life or death out there. And it's that type of brotherhood. I don't think a lot of people know. It's when I give shout out to first responders. It's genuinely heartfelt. The brotherhood that goes along with that kind of career. It's truly, and we just are kind of just getting a little bit of that, that energy, but just seeing
And
how
that's
it affected you.
intentional.
Right.
That's intentional.
It's
and
intense.
That's one of the great things, and that's why I wanted to work out with you guys and bring that to you, because that's one of the things that's helped me so much.
Right.
Dude,
Yeah.
the brotherhood,
Yeah.
and the camaraderie, and it's not just brotherhood, it's sisterhood too. If there's,
Absolutely.
100%.
If there's chicks there, but
100%.
yeah, that word brotherhood, it means a lot, and everybody has totally upheld that. It's been awesome.
And that kind of goes hand in hand also with some of the literature that you really kind of started to get into as well. That kind of was a bit of a catalyst for you too. Now, as you can see, and as everyone else can see, the Jocko products that we got going on here, and for those that don't know, Jocko Willink has just an esteemed career in the military, has done podcasts, has inspirational speaking, an author, entrepreneur.
If you don't know who Jocko
yeah.
Willink is, you need to get yourself out from under that rock.
Serious, man. Serious.
He is.
But amongst the many things that Jocko has done, being an author is one of them, and I've gotten a chance to, and I actually own his book. It's called Extreme Ownership. Corey, I think you got a copy of it, don't you?
I actually brought a copy for you guys.
Check that out. Extreme
Since
Ownership.
Xander's not here,
get a
You
shot
get
of
a
that to the
beep
cam. But
Okay, I'll read that. Is that the note?
That's the note.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And
I'll read that.
It's the book that I give out the most now.
Okay.
put it up.
And it has been for a while. That's one of the reasons why I have Jocko's products.
Yeah.
But whenever I give out a book, and now my kids give out books, it's
That's
it's
rad.
one of the cool things that we've
Lead
started.
by example,
Yeah,
man.
lead them by example. I like to write in them.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
date's going to be in there, and my name will be in there, and a
Okay.
special note for you guys.
I appreciate this.
I know,
Thank
man.
you so much.
Yeah, you're very
Actually,
welcome.
genuinely, thank you.
It
I don't-
literally
yeah.
changed my life. Maybe that's super strong to say, but it definitely helped guide me, and it is the direct reason that I started getting better after Chayse died. I found
Wow.
Jocko, the book. It was given to me before I went to a leadership academy for Cal Fire. I read it, and
Real quick, if we can put a pin in that real quick. The leadership academy that you went to, correct me if I'm not mistaken, but you were nominated to go to that, weren't you? Like you had to be.
No.
Was that one of the stories you're telling me about being nominated
yeah,
or
I mean, that
recognized?
story's involved.
Okay.
When I was there at the academy, that was a promotional academy, so
Okay.
I had to take an exam and then an interview, and then I got promoted to that position, pending graduating from the academy successfully.
Gotcha. Okay.
Th-
But I just remember you saying something about your peers.
yeah.
Recommending you
So
for.
I read the book.
Okay,
and,
we'll get into that. But yeah.
Yeah,
Dude.
dude, that's exactly where I was going to go with that.
Yeah, please.
Read the book,
Sorry, jumped the
and
gun
then just tried to put some of that knowledge to use. And then at the end of the academy, it was 6 weeks, and we lived with each other for 6 weeks, having the weekends off. Some of us stayed for the weekends, some of us went home. But living with each other for 6 weeks, I got nominated by my peers. We all had to vote for the person that made the difference in the academy for you. Like who could you not have done it without? Who helped you throughout the process? And I was completely honored to get that award.
wow.
And it's cool because my name's on a plaque up at the academy, and
Dude,
it should
check
be
you
there
out.
for a while. So that's pretty cool.
Right on, man. And for those that may not have read this or had the chance to, know about even Jocko Willink, talk about extreme ownership and just like the general philosophy of that. Because that's kind of it can be a bit ambiguous to some people that may not know Jocko, who he is.
Oh
and
my
things
gosh, extreme.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe think of it as like a bro thing or anything, but
Right.
it almost couldn't be anything further from that. It's like a real life philosophy.
I don't even want to give this to Xander. I'm gonna be honest. This is
Read
is
it first,
amazing.
man.
You'll want
I
to.
know.
Yeah.
You'll want to after you read the instructions.
Give it to him.
You'll want to give it to him. Yeah.
Okay.
So the philosophy behind extreme ownership, you're going to break that down a little bit and why that resonated so well with you?
Yeah. I mean, Jocko explains it super well. That's why he's a best-selling author. But to put it into my own words, it's everything in your world is up to you. You own everything. And that's not just stuff that you have direct control over, but, you know how they say, like, your children are a direct reflection of you,
Absolutely.
or you're a product of your environment.
Right.
But
You are who you are around.
yeah. So, I mean, if my kids are a direct reflection of me, and I'm probably biased, but I'm doing pretty damn good. I have
You are.
wonderful children. And
Absolutely.
They are
Yeah.
completely thriving and are tough and warrior kids. And Jocko also writes other books, Warrior Kid series. And
No way.
my daughter reads those, and we read those together, and that's another way that we've bonded. And
Right.
we all have matching shirts that say Warrior Kid, and she's totally all about it. And she's doing jujitsu, and my little boy's doing jujitsu. I mean, so it's like a full family thing, but it stems from extreme ownership and owning everything in my life, right? Like, I jumped back on the path, Jocko calls it,
I'm
after
so eager.
Chayse died.
Dude.
Yeah, dude, you should.
Yeah,
You
dive in.
should.
It's-
I
it's
don't.
good.
I don't like reading.
Neither
right?
did I.
Really?
Neither did I.
In this
Yeah.
book. This
That
book.
book helps.
Okay.
There's cool stories in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's really cool
He
stories.
puts a lot of his own personal stories about some
You
of
read
the,
this?
Yes, the platoons that he was in command of, and some of the mistakes that he's very transparent and honest, and it really leads to the authenticity of his philosophy of extreme ownerships. I've made mistakes here, but I owned up to them, and there was no one else to blame. There was even a friendly fire situation. He goes, ultimately, that was on me. There nobody else. It was 100%
wow.
on me, and he was the platoon commander, and the buck stops with him. And
Wow.
Right.
it's an
All
incredible,
right.
yeah.
I'll let Xander borrow this. Then I'll read it a second time, and I'll probably annotate it. I like
That's awesome.
making little notes here and there.
It's awesome.
I'm so sorry to cut you off.
No,
though.
dude.
I'm just so
That was a
eager.
perfect-
I haven't been eager to
Perfect time.
read a book, you know. But normally, I'm interested in that type of stuff,
I
real
hope so.
like true life, true like war story type stuff for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Green eggs and ham, all that good stuff.
But I'm so sorry to cut you
He
off.
might
but-
rhyme in there a little bit for you.
Hey, really?
There are pictures.
Are
There
there?
are pictures, and some of them are in color, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, you could bring your own crayons.
Are you serious? Or not? Okay. I'm
We
all
bought you-
take it. I'm all gullible right now. I'm like, really?
We
Cool.
brought you Jocko crayons.
Yeah.
Really? No.
They smell good.
Okay, he would be
Don't eat
a
'em.
genius marketer at that point. He's already making kids books.
Yeah,
Like, he's
yeah,
hitting
the kids'
every
book.
single.
He does have kids coloring books, actually.
Does
That's-
he
that's
really,
funny.
bro?
Yeah.
His
My
marketing
girl.
agent needs a raise, bro.
I'm sure he's
I
probably
mean, it
doing
makes
all
a
right.
big deal.
Yeah, he
And
is.
the same reason why I did Sea Cadets early is the same reason why I want my kids to be involved in the Jocko stuff. Like, the Sea Cadets have the same values or core values, honor, courage, commitment as the Navy. And those were instilled in the Sea Cadets. You
Yeah.
know, those are the same values. And then if those are instilled in you as a little kid, then those carry on. And Jocko talks about having a warrior code at the end of his kid's book. And spoiler alert, but the main kid, Mark, he writes his own warrior code. His uncle has him write his own warrior code after reading him a bunch of other codes from different warriors, like the Bushido code or the Knight code, or all these different codes from different eras and times, like the Vikings. And
Dang.
it's crazy how like elegant and awesome these codes are. Like, they have honor and tidiness and taking care of others, taking care of people who can't take care of themselves,
Yeah.
education, study, discipline, all of those really cool things that I strive for every day. That's hard for me. If I can make it that much easier for my children,
Absolutely.
then I think they'll be that much better. in life.
100%.
Well, especially highlighting the good attributes that we should be all striving for, which the world nowadays, it kind of is almost just like a get yours, you know, it's all about you. How are you feeling? You know, feelings are probably the worst GPS, you know, system for how to guide our lives, you know,
Yes.
because they're so fleeting. But it seems like there's just this hyper focus on just, no, how do you feel? How are you feeling? And I think that kind of leads to a lot of these wayward youth, you know, and not really kind of knowing what's going on or having a direction.
Well, what to do with your feelings?
Right.
Yeah, how to guide your feelings.
How to
'cause-
harness them.
and how to understand that those feelings are probably normal,
Mm.
and being
Yeah.
vulnerable with your kids. And Chayse dying, my kids got to see me at my most vulnerable ever, dude. So right before you started talking about reading, which I love,
I
love
know,
it.
I
So
know.
6 weeks, dude, I felt like complete dog shit for 6 weeks. I cried every single day. At first, dude, it was all day, every day for the first week or month. I mean, it's still a blur, and we talk about like different things that had happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, and I didn't remember that. But I remember when my mom called me, told me, and then everything else, you know, blur, spotty here and there. But I remembered, and I looked back at my watch, and I was like, it's 6 weeks. This is bullshit. I am sick of feeling like this. How do I not feel like this anymore? How do I not feel completely heartbroken?
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I know exactly what to do. You know, it felt like all I had to do was reach back to what I was doing before in a general aspect, You know, starting from the Sea Cadets and then Explorers and then Volunteers and then firefighting with my crews and then Jocko. And then having a direct place to go back to was Extreme Ownership. Start there, hit his podcast, start listening to that, go back to jiu-jitsu, back into working out. And then that was the turning point. Was 6 weeks after Chayse died. It was the turning point for me. I started working out super hard at the station, and luckily I had my crew there. It was awesome. We started with some turnout workouts. I inherited Chayse's weight vest, and so was literally carrying him with me underneath my
Dang.
That's
turnouts.
crazy.
And
That's powerful.
Yeah.
dude, I used it. I had to. I mean, me telling you guys that I was broken, I was literally broken.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to feel like that anymore.
Yeah.
And he didn't deserve that. I wanted to honor him, and I didn't want people to not bring him up and not talk about him and not tell me all these wonderful stories that I've learned about him since he's died. And it's crazy to even say that I've had the best days in my life and the worst days of my life since he's died. But I have.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have to acknowledge that I have had the best days of my life since he's died and he hasn't been there. But I've had him there with me, and I've got to carry him through these
Yeah.
workouts, and now he's a part of me.
And you always will be.
Yeah, and it feels like that every day, and every time I get to talk about him, you know, it's super cool and very exciting. But yeah, he was the catalyst. Being broken, jumping back into Jocko's stuff, jumping back on the path, and listening to his stuff, and then it's just contagious. Oh, working out with the crew, doing all of that, and they were there for me, and they helped push me, and you know, if they were sitting right here, obviously they would say, no, it was you did it all. I mean, I've thrown up on workouts with them, just pushing myself, and it's because I'm carrying my little brother. I truly feel like at the beginning that was the only thing that was pushing me. I was carrying his weight vest, thinking about him, listening to Jocko's YouTube videos,
Yeah.
you know, the inspirational videos, like, fuck this, I need to get better. This is how I get better. Every time I work out, I feel better. The harder I go, the better I feel. And I'm doing it with my guys, and they have a way, and I never had to make a single workout. My guys made it for me, man. I showed up, and they would say, hey, are you ready to work out? I'd be like, oh, no, you know what, dude, I wasn't feeling it today, or this, and this, and I don't really feel like it. Oh, no, come on, man.
Right.
You got it. And they never had to bring up Chayse. They knew why I was doing it, I'm sure. And one of my guys, his name is actually Chayse, and I feel bad to this day. I told him, I was like, dude, it hurts my heart every time that someone yells your name, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, phew. And now I feel bad because that had to have hurt his feelings. Like, shit, dude, I remind him of his dead little brother. Like, that's got to be shitty. And
If you don't mind, if we can unpack that a little bit, because we really value mental health and doing things like journaling and taking time for yourself to make sure that you're right. It's not just about the body, mentally as well.
Yeah.
How, for people who might have lost somebody and feel guilty about those things, like saying, I've had some of the best days, I've also had some of the worst days, you know, and being so transparent about saying to a buddy that has the same name as your brother, it's heartbreaking to hear somebody call my brother's name and I look up and it's not my brother and it's you. I can only imagine how hard that must have been, and your vulnerability. Thank you so much for that. But for
100%,
somebody that
thank
is in that moment right now, watching this, struggling, going, it's hard for me even to say that out loud, that it's painful to hear my brother or my sister's name. Can you give a little bit of advice on how you broke that and where the courage came from to just tell your buddy, hey man, this is just how I'm feeling at the moment, the feeling of relief afterwards, I'm sure. Can you break that down just a little bit to help some people that may be going through something similar?
yeah. Well, now I feel bad you know, because I told him when I was emotional. You spoke on emotions earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Checking your emotions, I think, is a learned skill, and it's something that I'm trying to get better at. Um, you know, as a husband and as a father and as a person, and not having these knee-jerk reactions, and you know, escalating your emotions and de-escalating your emotions
Yeah.
is really hard. Um,
We've talked about that
Yes,
too,
we did.
100%.
Yeah, we've literally talked about
We've
that.
always said an
That's-
emotionally reactive person is a dangerous person,
Especially a man.
Yeah.
An emotionally reactive man.
especially a man.
could be,
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
be, for sure. Anybody,
Yeah.
absolutely. So me telling him that was a moment of weakness. I wasn't controlling my own emotions. Why would his name change my emotions? I shouldn't allow that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not his fault. So, and I'm pretty sure that I've told him that, like, hey, dude, I was sorry. I'm sorry that I even brought that up. But in the moment, I'm glad that I told him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I find a lot of respect in that.
And he's my friend, and he took my moment of weakness with stride and was like, dude, do you need to talk about that?
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, and I know how close that you were with your brother. And so shout out to Chayse Selkie.
Shout out Chayse Selk.
Selkie.
Selk-
Shout out
Selkie.
Selkie.
Yeah.
Right on,
Shout out
man.
Selkie.
Huge impact. He was climbing stairs with me, and you know, suffering and sweating with me, and was encouraging me, and to tell him like, oh man, your name hurts me, like that sucks, I shouldn't have done that, but man, he was great about it, and you know, was still there for me no matter what.
And I think there's a huge level of respect along with vulnerability amongst those that you care about and that you respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that's only enhanced your guys' relationship, that vulnerability, that acceptance of it, and then working through it together.
I would hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure it probably has. So to
Absolutely.
the people out there who may have felt like that's something that they can't bring up, or it may be a tough topic, you know, you can see that, you know, through Corey's experiences, it's only kind of benefited the relationships, and it's kind of enhanced it. And there's a lot that you can learn from your states of vulnerability. So I respect the heck out of that, even if you kind of
100%.
look at it like, man, maybe that was a little mean or whatever. I really respect that it shows a lot to be
You're-
vulnerable amongst those that, especially for men, we're supposed to be machismo, and we're supposed to be, you know, have
Yeah.
this kind of
Yeah, yeah.
stoicism that's just 24/7. But sometimes you kind of need to let that guard down a little bit in order for that healing process to take place.
100%.
I agree completely. The relationships that I've built and that I've had the opportunity to have since Chase has died, and that have been directly correlated to his death, have been tremendous. There have been so many. And the relationships that have gotten stronger from my crew and my captain, and them completely taking care of me. I was scared to go back to work. I'd been a professional fireman for a long time, and an unprofessional fireman for even longer than
Yeah.
that, as a frat house volunteer, messing around with my bros, doing it
Yeah.
for free,
Yeah.
staying up all night, doing crazy stuff at the firehouse, you know, just absolutely living that dream, to doing it as a fire explorer, you know,
Yeah.
super early, sacrificing weekends instead of partying and going out with high school friends. I was going to the fire station and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was doing a lot of fire stuff, and it's super easy to be that machismo and like,
Yeah.
but this completely broke that, and to open the door, and I've allowed myself to become vulnerable because of these relationships that I've had and these conversations that I've been able to experience, and they've only been open because of Chase. And it's been a wild, crazy ride, but I wouldn't change anything about it, and I don't think that he would want to either. And that helps
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Honoring him and
100%.
doing my best.
And just really,
for
really
him.
quick, like you said, I'm just gonna barely touch on it because I don't want to keep you in this topic. But
No,
for the 6 weeks, right? Was that the amount of time that you weren't at work? Like, how long did you take off of work before you decided, or the department? I
That's
don't
a
know.
good
I don't know how it
question.
is it kind of just like a, hey, you let us know when you're able
Like a
to come
bereavement
back and like
period is
just
only
take
this long,
as
or
much
how
time
does
as
that
you
work?
want, or do they be like,
Yeah.
hey, like you have three months to, do what you got to do, and then we'd like to see you kind of come back maybe 2 days a week, and then then you'll come back 4 days a week, and
Yeah.
then soon
Yeah, how
you'll
does
be
that whole
on like
process
your
work?
actual like.
That's a great question.
After this, I got to go to the bathroom, but I was really.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me
Okay.
too.
Perfect. We'll take a break after this. Go ahead.
So the department was great. The department lacks in actual bereavement time. I think I got 2 days. 2 days technically off of work, paid for by the city. Thank you, City of Ontario, for those 2 days. As a firefighter, 2 days to me, I have to burn 24 hours of vacation or sick time to get 1 day. So that's
Wow.
48 hours. That's a lot of hours. Like
Mhm.
we earn it basically the same rate as any other city employee. So it takes a long time to earn that. So they gave me 48 hours off that I didn't have to pay for. They paid me for that time. I got to get that for free. And then my captain was the union president, so anybody would have got the same exact treatment, but I knew that I was just going to be taken care of. And he said that, hey, man, I got you. Any of the captains can take care of our time card and make sure that all of that's good to go. Um, they put in my sick time, my vacation time. I did have to pay for my own time in
Okay.
that sense.
Mhm.
That came out of my bank. But at no point in time did they say, when are you coming back to work? Like, you need to come back. It was always like, do you need anything? Are you ready? Is there anything that we can do to help you? There's
Mhm.
resources. We have peer support resources. Everybody was very helpful. They started a meal train, the department did, and we had meal cards coming, we had food coming, and it was
Wow.
great. There was just so
That's
much
cool.
overwhelming
That's
support.
incredible.
Yeah.
And I seriously couldn't be here without the department and the guys and the families that donated to us. And I mean, it seems so silly, like, oh man, a card to Uber Eats. It was during COVID times. I mean, 21, it was
Mhm.
COVID times. So
Mhm.
Uber Eats, like, that's really cool to get that card and not have to pay for something a little bit nicer that night. Like, we had sushi, I think, on one of the Uber Eats nights, and we wouldn't have done that. Like,
Right.
who's Uber eating sushi?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was just overwhelming support from everyone at the department to the city. Um, but yeah, I had to use some of my time,
Okay.
and that was without question. If I would have run out of my time, we have other ways of supplementing that with other disability or other things. The union, I can always go to the union, and there's a supplemental bank at the city where everybody donates to a giant pool
That's
to help
awesome.
with
That's rad.
Yeah.
certain circumstances like this.
Yeah.
And that's a city provided program, and then our union provides other things too.
Cool. Yeah.
Firefighters supporting each other,
For sure.
the brotherhood, the
Yeah.
sisterhood, all
Right.
of
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
was just
awesome.
curious.
All
Yeah.
of those, and I'm glad that you're asking about it and talking about it, because people do need to know that those options are available, and they help, and they definitely help.
Well, one thing that stuck out was you're just talking about, the wild ride that kind of it's taking you on in the health journey and all that stuff, and we barely started to kind of touch on the recovery process of that health journey, and I think we're going to touch on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
We're probably going to take a quick break, and
Yeah.
then we will go
Bathroom break.
Let's empty and refuel.
quick little
Yeah.
break, and then we'll be back with a little bit more about CORY. All right.
All right.
All right, guys, we are back and had a little bit of time to take a quick break.
We are renewed.
We are renewed, man. It is official. One of the things that we were kind of talking about before we went off into the break was the recovery process. We started to kind of get off on a little bit of a tangent, but I wanted to touch upon that, because that is a huge part of the entire endeavor that you kind of found yourself on in this path. That took you from first responder, the volunteer, being a firefighter, getting inspired by Jocko, going through the that hard season, that 6-week season, of losing your brother and struggling through that, with your, the time that took off. And again, thank you so much for your honesty and vulnerability there. But I really also want to talk about the whole recovery process, that side of the gym and that side of the fitness realm, how you got involved in it, specifically the recovery process for ice bath therapy, ice bath plunges, sauna, the red light therapy.
Yeah.
How did that whole, because that's a whole thing we got to unpack there, man. How
That's
did
huge.
that aspect, how did you get introduced to that, the recovery aspect? How did you start applying that in your life? I know that you're doing that at home and at the station, so kind of unpack the recovery process, how it's important, how you got involved in it, and
how I got involved in it.
Yeah.
So, dude, this is, talking to you guys, this has been like a culminative lifetime of experiences and stuff that have taken place, including Chayse dying. Like, that's what we were talking about. That was the tangent, was Chayse, which I'm glad to talk about him all the time. Anytime I get to share the story about him, and anytime that anything's included with him is really cool, and it helps keep his legacy alive.
Absolutely.
And now he's a part of this conversation, so it's awesome. But he was a big part of it. But recovery, I started with the Jocko stuff, started listening to podcasts more, and then listening more to scientific podcasts, muscle building, muscle recovery, people like Huberman, Rogan, Susanna Soberg, all of these scientists. Dr. Peter Attia, he released a book called Outlive. I mean, it's a huge book, but it has so many different things. I didn't read it. I have a copy of it that I reference, but I listened to it Audible. That's amazing. It's an amazing option to listen to and just open your mind and gain more knowledge. But
what is it called again?
Outlive.
Outlive. Okay.
It's about longevity.
Okay.
And things that you can do right now to make you live longer, and to maybe not live longer in years, but live longer, healthy years, and just have a few years before the end of your life where they're not your golden years anymore, where you're kind of on the downslope, instead of like you hit your retirement age and then it's like a slow downslope from there.
Right.
I want to just continue increasing till I plateau and then kind of fall off.
Yeah.
And that's what the book's about, like how to all about longevity.
Yeah.
Making your life better, optimizing now. So a lot of things like that. And with all of the working out at the station, one of the guys had the idea like, hey man, let's get an ice bath. We'll make one out of a Rubbermaid container. It's the 110 gallons, and it was $100 at Tractor Supply, and he's looking it up like, oh man, I can have it shipped for, $200 here. And I was like, dude, I think there's a Tractor Supply on my way home. I'll just stop by tomorrow. And sure shit, they had one, and it was $99. We have commercial ice makers at every fire station because we use a lot of ice for our ice chests for all of our drinks and things like that. And they more than keep up, and we have to dump them regularly to clean them.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot like that. Like she's doing her own.
Really?
Ice bath over there.
Yeah. When you mean like commercial, are they like like?
They're big ice machines, like at a restaurant. They put it in a bucket and then they go and put
Got
it in
you.
Or like
Okay.
what you see at like a hotel or something.
Got
like
you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
just like at the hotel, very similar. So I mean, it takes a trash can worth like 50-gallon worth of ice to lower it from 60 degrees to 45 degrees, 41 degrees in the morning. So luckily, every fire station has ice maker, and that's how it started. I got it that night or the next day and took it to work, and now we have the same exact tub, but we've attached a filter and a hose, and we put a little bit of bleach and stuff in it to make sure that it's sanitary, and we clean it often because quite a few guys now use it. It's now spread to where other guys have the same setup at other stations. I do it.
Spreading like wildfire.
It's spreading, dude. It's spreading. And it's good because people are, they notice the benefits almost instantly. So the reason, and then all of that started, and in the shower one evening, I was like, man, there's I want to do this. I want to recover like a professional athlete, just like everybody else that's trying to get after it and improve and get better. But I'm not getting any younger, and it hurts every day. Like, dude, this is significant. It makes me feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Jiu-jitsu, I can go to jiu-jitsu almost every day, whereas before it would be like once a week, and that was what one of the biggest things keeping me out of off the mats was being so sore and feeling so beat up. Whereas now, on top of obviously you have to have a good diet
Sure.
and eat clean and fuel your body right, but if you're doing all those things and you're still not recovering, it's probably because you need an ice bath in your life, and
Mm-hmm.
it just takes it to the next level, man. You feel absolutely fantastic. From a recovery aspect, it does it like nothing else. I mean, if you've ever had tendonitis in your elbow or, wrist problems or something where you can dunk your extremity in ice and keep it in there and bear the pain for 5, 10, 20 minutes sometimes and then go after it, especially when you're young,
Mm-hmm.
dude, it's like being Wolverine. It feels like you feel completely different.
Conquer the world.
Yeah, man. I've had tendonitis in my elbow before, and this was before ice bathing. And the only thing that would fix it, Motrin wouldn't touch it, Tylenol wouldn't touch it. But I would dunk my elbow in a bowl of ice water for 20 minutes, just grit the pain because it sucks at
Yeah.
first, especially when there's that little bit of water and ice. So it's probably less than 32 degrees at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas we're going in anywhere from 40 to 45 degrees
Is that the sweet spot?
that's my sweet spot
Okay.
now. That's
Okay.
what I found for 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
I started at 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and I've gone down to 32 degrees. I've been at 38 degrees. Gone up to today's at home. Well, I don't have a commercial ice machine, but I have the plunge or the Rubbermaid container that's full, and we just have a barbecue cover over it. And at night, since it's winter, it drops down enough. When we woke up, it was in the low 50s, and then when I went in it, it was 58. So I went in a little bit longer. I went in for 6 minutes. And then after me, Mackenzie went in. She's 9. She knew that I was coming on the podcast, She knew that it was important for me to get the ice bath in. I usually do it at work, but I wanted to come home and do it with Amanda, and she's been getting after it.
Shout out Amanda.
Shout out
That's
to
right.
Amanda. She is a complete badass, mother of 2. She's my wife. We have started this community, the Cul-de-sac Beasts. It's us and our friends and our neighbors and our kids and our friends' kids. We all work out together in the cul-de-sac, and it stemmed from me coming home, bringing the crew workouts. We did a lot of stairs with Chayse's vest. I inherited Chayse's weight vest. He was huge into CrossFit. And that's one of the biggest reasons why it was such a turning point into my life and why I knew that I needed to get better. And he wanted me to get in better shape. It's not like I was never capable,
No.
but I was overweight by any measure. I had a gut. My heaviest in my life was after my daughter was born. Not that that's an excuse, but that's the reason that it happened, and kind of spiraled. She was born with a birth defect, and she was in the NICU for 2 months.
Wow.
We knew that it was coming, so we were prepared. But how do you prepare for anything like that? But I
Right.
let myself get up to 278 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I let myself. There's no excuses. And luckily, I was able to get control of it. But like I was saying, I was never not capable. I'm sure that I was only at 278. That was like the awakening. I was only there for a day, maybe. Like, man, like these pants don't fit today. I need to see what's going on. Did the dryer shrink them? That joke.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that was my heaviest. And Chayse was never like that. He was huge into CrossFit. I mean, the weekend before he died, a couple days before he died, we all went to lunch, like a early dinner together, and he was doing handstand push-ups while we were waiting for a table for my kids. He was entertaining them. that's just who he was. He was the fun uncle, but was like the best person in the room. Would give anybody the shirt off of his back. And while we were on the pee break, we were talking about you know, important people and strong personalities, and his personality was one of the strongest. He was so confident and lit up any room. Like, for example, he just made this thing up himself, this his own tradition. Any party that he started going to, he would dress up for it. So like for my kids' parties, there was a Paw Patrol party for my son, one of my son's birthdays. He dressed up as Chase. You know, Chase is on the case. And he showed up at the party dressed up like him, and it's a hit, and all the kids love it, and then all the adults love it, and everybody takes pictures with him. And he showed up as Maui one time, you know, because he was looking good. He was ripped and in shape, and he's covered in tattoos. And he showed up in a skirt with a Maui hook and a wig, long hair, and my daughter ate it up, and she was his biggest fan. Their relationship was unlike any other, and it just goes to show the man that he was becoming and the man that he was. He absolutely adored her, and she adored him, and he was crazy Uncle Chase. And
That's awesome.
So you said that you said that he was into CrossFit, right? Did
Yeah.
he do any ice bathing? Was he
No,
like into any of the
no.
recovery aspects
you know
of?
what? I think he went to a cryo place once.
Okay, yeah.
But no,
It's
This
not
was-
the same,
This
huh?
was a random idea in the shower.
Okay.
But the business is named Chase Life after him.
Okay, do you want to kind of break that down? What are you going to be offering at Chase Life?
Yeah.
What do you want to provide to the community?
Absolutely.
Yep. So I wanted to recover like a professional athlete.
Okay.
And this is something that I wanted, that I heard on Rogan and all these podcasts and stuff. And I'm like, that's impossible to have like really nice shit and get to do all those things. And I was like, man, you know, it would be possible if I just fronted it and then started a business and then charge people just enough to keep it running and make a little bit of money for the inconvenience, but have this recoverability and like people able to recover like this for everyone, like a professional athlete
Yeah.
essentially. But we're going to offer sauna and cold plunge.
Okay.
Initially. I also am probably going to be offering red light therapy too.
Okay.
After everything that I've been hearing and reading about it. I've never done it, but it seems pretty interesting, and there's a lot of studies that have been coming out that are proving that it could be extremely beneficial.
Have you done any sauna work at all? I know that you know and you're familiar with all of the benefits of cold plunging, but do you know any from sauna work? Do you do sauna work as much as cold, or is it just primarily cold plunging and maybe sauna on the side every once in a while?
Sauna every once in a while.
Okay.
And that's one of the things. Like, saunas are expensive. Not every gym has one.
Yeah, that's true.
They're hard to come by. And hopefully, if chiefs are listening at the fire station. You know, it's terrifying that they may be or might be. But at the same time, like, chiefs, let's get on having more saunas at the fire stations. They're not just beneficial for the general public, but they're beneficial for firefighters. And there's a lot of studies that are proven that. Those cancer prevention, that's still being studied, but it's highly possible that it could prevent firefighters from dying from cancer.
Wow.
It's one of the scariest things about our job. My wife's mom passed away when she was 53 from breast cancer. It's highly prevalent in our family, and my wife's mental health, you know, that's constantly on her mind. We're quickly approaching the age, she's past the age where her mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. That's something to go through, you know. The person that you inherited your genes from, possibly getting something where you could die from.
Yeah.
And then now, I've been doing interviews of my friends and family that have been doing the ice plunge or the cold plunge, and Amanda just did her statement, and she said that one of the reasons that she does it is for mental health and for anxiety and those overwhelming type feelings. and how it's helped her significantly.
Yeah.
So that's always really nice
Yeah.
to hear. Um, but yeah, let's get some saunas at the stations. I think
Yeah.
that could be very beneficial.
Definitely. So yeah,
there's plenty of proof there.
That's awesome. It sounds like Chayse Life,
Chayse Life.
is gonna be just overall recovery center, and almost a preventative center as well, right? Like you're
Absolutely.
preventing
You're
some
healthy.
diseases, and just the overall healthy lifestyle is what you're trying to provide to the general public that may not have a cold plunge or may not have the room to put a cold plunge somewhere. They can come to Chayse Life and they can get that stuff. Are you doing
Exactly.
are you doing memberships? Are you doing like per like
Yeah.
sauna use it? Like how is that going to go down? What are you going to be?
Both.
Okay.
So I want it to be accessible to as many people as possible. Unfortunately, it can't be free, right?
Mhm.
Stuff has to be paid for. For my guys at work, it's going to be significantly cheaper just because as much as I can give back to them, I'm going to, of
Right.
course. That's huge to me. The fact that my equipment's made in America, like that's important to
Yeah.
me. But
Yeah.
going back to the memberships, I wanted it to be open to as many people as possible. Like my vision is the unlimited membership to be less than $5 a day, so that or $5 per activity. I think it came out to, so that way, the average person when they're going to and from work. From 9 to 5 job, we're going to be open from 5 a.m. and closing at 9 or 10 in the evening. So before you go to
Beautiful.
work,
Yeah.
instead of stopping at Starbucks and getting a bunch of sugar in your drink
For
and
over
starting your
$5.
day- for over $5
For like
probably.
$7 a drink, right?
Yeah.
Real talk, 7-10.
Or
Yeah,
any
yeah.
coffee shop. Like if you're starting your day with this, and we're gonna have Jocko Fuel there, so a cold plunge and clean energy, and then finishing your day on the way home after you hit the gym or you hit jiu-jitsu, you stop by and you sauna and you sweat it out a little bit and you relax and you go home completely refreshed and re-energized for your family who you're doing it all for, right? Like
100%.
you might as well go home and be the best version of you. Once you hit that, walk through that threshold, you're going to be home and you're there for your family. I mean, that's why I want to do it.
Right.
And so I imagine that everybody else kind of wants that situation, or at least part of that. Maybe you don't want to do the cold plunge. Maybe you have a pacemaker or some reason why you can't do the cold plunge. You're too much of a chicken, Mom. Just kidding. She's been working on it. She did I talked her into doing an ice bath in her bathtub, and it only goes up to like this high. But she did it, and she sent me a video, and she's talking to me, and talking to other people makes it easier.
Yes.
Doing it
Absolutely.
with other people makes it easier.
gonna
Sharing your experience, doing it at the firehouse with the crew. We're all there together. Like I said, I started interviewing people, hearing their experience. Them talking about it 100% makes it easier. It makes it easier for me when I'm talking to other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Because luckily enough for me, I get to do it most of the time with other individuals. I do it by myself, which is fun and different and challenging in its own way, because then you're in solitude and then you
Right.
you
Yeah.
dive deep into your own thoughts.
Uh-huh.
And in some of these videos of these people I've been getting testimonials of, I've asked them like, hey, what do you think of when you're by yourself? These are people that have been doing it for a few months regularly, so they've had all those experiences, and it's a roller coaster. Some days it's easier, some days it's harder, but you think of different things, and for me at least, and some of these people that I'm talking to, there's a lot of self-talk because you're doing something really hard. It feels like you're dying the first couple times that you do it, right? You're getting in that water. I mean, I recently just talked about it with a couple people, like, what do you think about? And I was like, you know what I just thought about? It's kind of jacked up. I thought about Jack and the Titanic,
I was thinking the
That-
same thing.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
only one.
Yeah.
All right, so what I was thinking of was that man, and he was a boy child, right? Like he was 18 or something, 19
Yeah.
in that movie. Who knows if it's real, but pretty inspirational. Who knows if there was enough room on that door for him? Maybe there was. But either way, he sat in that water holding his girl's hand, making sure that she was all right, that she was comforted, and that she was going to be okay. And he sat there, didn't complain about it, and just took it until he fell asleep. Like, could I do that? I was thinking about that, and as I'm jackjawing, like, oh, could I do that? And
Leo.
like,
It's a lot tougher than we
Yeah,
thought.
Leo, you're a legend.
You're a legend, bro.
You deserve that Grammy.
No, I was gonna say it's like the fight or flight, right?
It is. Well,
that's why
get the
some
hell
people
out
you see
or
on the-
stay in and
It
deal
is.
with
And
it.
it's like,
Yeah.
I'm luckily enough to I get to see everybody's first time reactions.
I know we
like
got to
their
get the
ice
renewed podcast
virgins,
on it.
and it's hilarious. Some of them are
You first.
awesome,
I'll go first.
and some of these tough firemen, like I've seen them
Yeah.
not be so tough.
Yeah.
Some guys last 30 seconds, like, oh man, my back's spasming. Like, oh dude, maybe you should get out. That's okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they stop, and that's one of the things that I've learned in this endeavor, and that I've told you guys about. Some of the stickers is kaizen. It's a Japanese noun, and I was actually going to save it for your isms, but it fits right into what we're talking about. The direct translation for kaizen, Kai, is change, and zen is good. So like good change or small change, incremental change. So my kind of definition of it is every day is an opportunity for improvement, some small good change. Even if it's only by 1%. And so some of that is maybe you are just doing the cold plunge. That's hard, and it 100% is making you better. Whether it's physical recovery, mental resilience, learning how to breathe and overcome that, like, I'm dying.
That hyperventilation.
And turning that into, I can directly control my emotions. And I got to have this conversation with my daughter. One of the coolest experiences since I've been cold bathing is getting to do this with my daughter, Mackenzie. There's a couple things recently that I've gotten. She's getting older. She's 9. She's almost 10. You know how it is having kids that are getting older, and the relationship changes, and how you're able to talk and communicate differently. And this level is different, dude. I got an experience that I hope that every parent can have. She decided that she wanted to go in the cold plunge. And this is going to be another tangent, dude. I hope that you're okay with that. And she has already been in it. She's probably done it 10 times, including today. She decided to do it.
I need to hop on the
Probably
wave.
10 times. This 9-year-old, complete badass. Dude. She does jujitsu. And she eats right. She looks physically fit. She looks like a little gymnast, and she doesn't do any kind of gymnastics. She bounces on the trampoline and does jujitsu and works out with us in the cul-de-sac workouts. But
We got to do that too.
I know, I'm bragging about my daughter. She's so cool. She's awesome. But one of the coolest things that I got to do with her is she needed to do the cold plunge. She hurt her knee, and I was like, hey, you know what? The cold plunge would probably help that. And she goes, yeah, you're right. And we were on our way home from school, and she goes, when we get home, I just want to do it. I just want to get it over with. And I was like, all right, cool, baby. Yeah, let's get some. And she's a little warrior kid. She reads Jocko's Warrior Kid books, and it's awesome. She's 100% on the path, which makes me proud every single day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
You're winning.
she's standing outside the cold plunge, and I ask her, and it's tough that day. It was cold that day. It was like kind of rainy, and so it's hard when you go in outside and it's like gloomy out. Like, if the sun's out, it makes a big difference. You feel a little bit happier. You know that the sun's going to warm you up when you step into it. But when it's rainy, it kind of...
Like, everything sucks
At
about
least
this.
for me.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, man. So it was one of those days to kind of paint the picture. And she was having a moment of weakness. She goes, Dad, I'm nervous. And I go, okay, baby. I feel that too. Every time I go in, I feel that. And it used to be really bad. and I hated it. And then I realized, like, I'm about to have a really cool moment with her, and I get to talk to her and explain to her why I do it and how normal those nervous type feelings are, because those feelings translate to all aspects of life.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm expecting her to do something, and luckily I get to lead by example in this aspect.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing it because I've already been doing it. She knows that I've been doing it, so I'm not just talking about it.
Right.
I've experienced all of that. So she's seen that firsthand, and she's seen me shivering.
Sure.
And after Chayse died, she saw me at my most vulnerable anyways. Like, she saw me bawling and crying and was there to help support me, and, you know, it's okay, Daddy, I miss him too, and all of that. And now I get to experience this aspect of helping her overcome something that I've already overcome, that I've helped grown adults overcome. Like, yeah, man, I feel that too. It
Yeah.
sucks. And her realizing that and then going, man, maybe she's not going to feel like this when she's a teenager, but it felt like she was looking at me like, my dad's Superman.
Yeah.
You know, he knows what he's talking about. I can do it. I trust him. And, you know, I hope that everybody gets that. And she stepped in there. We started the time. And, oh, before she got in, I asked her, hey, do you want me to go in with you? Do you want me to go in right before you? And she's like, no, I want to do it by myself. And I was like, all right, girl, yeah. And she steps in. We start the time on the watch, and she sits down super quick, and she has that reaction. And it's one of those shitty days. Like, she's like, and
Right.
she's already done it, you know, 6-7 times at this point, and she's done it like a champ. She'll sit in there and not shiver sometimes, where I'm shivering every time.
At the 45-degree range.
To that time, it was probably 55 degrees.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's cold.
Still pretty cold,
50
man.
Bro, and 10 degrees ain't you.
It's
yeah.
cold, man.
Yeah.
It makes me shiver for
Yeah.
sure. And she had that reaction, the take your breath away. So at that point, you know the fight or flight's kicking in.
Definitely.
And we've been talking another time that we've been working out. Like, hey, you want to do that jiu-jitsu tournament? Do you want your opponents to see you tired? Boom, she gets stoic when we're working out, and she starts trotting
Nice.
around. I'm like, yeah, you should be happy, you should be smiling. You want some more of this, right? And she's like, yeah, I want some more. And, you know, and then perspective changes, and then she's
Right.
like full of attitude and ready to go and getting after it. And so I asked her, I was like, hey, do you want your enemies to see your face like that? Boom, when she's sitting in the water, 2.
Right.
We've been working on breathing.
Dang.
It's one of the only things that helps in the ice bath, man. The ice bath's the great equalizer. And breathing helps, and box breathing helps significantly. It helps me. It's helped many other people that I've been helping, and her included. And she snapped into it and just started her breathing and took a couple deep breaths, got her emotions under control. And after the first 30 seconds, the ice bath, you just realize that it's cold. The fight or flight goes away.
Yeah.
You can kind of relax.
It's almost
into
acceptance,
it.
right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
accept that it's going to suck for a little bit.
Right. There's a
Yeah.
lot of mental game in it. Yeah.
There's a tremendous mental game in it. And to sit there, number one, she's forced to sit there because her knee hurts and she wants it to feel better. So she automatically knows that it's going to feel better afterwards, so she might as well get it over with. And she might as well engage with me and talk, because it makes it that much easier when, instead of being bored and by yourself, like, oh, whatever, even if my dad's wrong, I'll listen to him right now, because it makes it a little bit easier. But she accepted it and was engaged just like we are.
Yeah.
And I got to have that conversation with my 9-year-old of overcoming things and these hard times in life that you're going to experience. No matter what I do to prepare you, you're still going to go through hard times, and it's things like this, these little things that will help you. And it was just so cool to know that I was about to have that conversation, because I've been having it so many times and essentially practicing it to get to do that with her, and her just seeing it and lighting up. Man,
Yeah.
if all I got out of it was that, man, it's totally worth it.
Core
That was
memories.
so cool.
Yeah.
Core memory,
Core
hopefully.
memory. 100%.
Hopefully.
Oh,
Amanda tells me
100%.
that all the time. Like, I hope that was a
100%.
core memory.
You seen
Elemental.
Yeah,
Or
no,
not Elemental.
Inside Out.
Inside Out, yes.
Have you seen that one? There's a Disney movie, Inside Out.
Yes, people
Pixar.
refer to me as the angry one.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
That's
I don't know why.
That's my logo.
It's a short joke.
On Disney Channel
It's a short
or on
He is short.
what is it? Disney Plus, whatever that streaming one is. That's my icon. Is the dad, the angry?
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the fire.
So it resonates with me.
Great.
Fire.
But yeah, no, core memory 100%. But
Core
that's just a
memory.
really good movie of like kind of a visualization. Of,
We
like,
gotta get the
internals
pod.
of your mind. What?
We got to get the pod to,
Oh,
to
man.
come over and do the ice.
Oh,
ice
definitely.
bath.
That would be
You
number
let- you
one. It
let
would be
me know.
hilarious.
Yes.
So hilarious.
Lots of
So I
chattering
have
teeth.
some stuff showing up at my house before the store opens. As soon as it shows up, dude, I'll have you guys.
Do you want to
come
talk
over.
about that just a little bit? When do you want? When is the plan of the store
So my
opening? I know
goal-
that things
Yeah.
are kind of up in the air, but do you want to talk about the business aspects just a little bit more?
Yeah,
Just
I would love to.
however much you want to get
Mhm.
into it. When you're opening, we already talked about what you're going to be providing.
Sauna, cold plunge,
and
hopefully red light.
and
Right.
then with the Jocko Fuel
Jocko
Yeah,
guys,
a little bit
this
about your
are,
timeline though.
Yeah.
Like, what's next and
Yeah, June 1st, summer 1st is the first day of summer is my goal. Summer solstice, some people say is the first day of summer, so that's like my backup plan because that's June 21st. So
Okay.
June 1st is my big goal. I'm still in line for that. I am changing spots. I was going to be in a spot in Murrieta. I'm having to pivot. Was having some red flags with the landlord. Didn't quite feel that relationship. So a spot also just opened up in the same building as my jiu-jitsu gym.
Oh.
So that would be a really cool opportunity. So we are exploring that option right now.
okay.
That'd be rad.
If I get a spot by April 1st, then I can make the deadline by June 1st. If it's after, I'm going to need 60 days, essentially, of turnaround time to order the equipment and renovate the spot and make sure that everything's good because I want to do it right the first
Absolutely.
time.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that everything's good. I'm okay having like a soft opening for my fire guys that are probably going to be help doing renovations anyways. Of course, having them after they're done helping me install some stuff, having them experience the equipment and give me some testimonials and
Yeah.
hopefully some plugs and stuff like that.
Definitely some content coming the viewers' way then, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully getting some Chiefs down here and going in.
That would be amazing.
That would be
Yep.
that'd be incredible. That'd be sick.
That would totally help out.
Well, I know that you may have jumped the gun a little bit on the ism of the day of Kaizen, but man, I tell you what, there's a plethora of things that I have learned from you just from the amount of times that we've spoken. I'm sure I can speak for Ethan as well.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of times where we've just been talking and it's like, dude, it's like an ism in and of itself, just through conversations that we've had. With that being said, man, Kaizen is such an incredible philosophy that even businesses are basing their entire structure of how they're growing based upon Kaizen. So if you haven't looked into it out there, look into Kaizen again. Good change, essentially.
small
1% better
incremental
every day.
changes over time. And it's crazy, dude. I got that from ChatGPT.
There's
So,
no way.
I am just some college paramedic firefighter.
Yeah.
Never once thought about opening a business. That was Chase. After Chase stopped following in mine and my dad's footsteps to become a fireman, we asked him, dude, what do you want to do? And he's like, I don't know, but I'm going to make millions. And we're like, And every time we asked him that, even when he was 18, starting his own businesses, dude, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to make millions. And he started opening up his own businesses when he was 18. He opened up a kiosk in Hemet, fixing iPhones and other smartphones, replacing batteries and fixing screens, and he owned it. He was a true entrepreneur, and that was his lane, and I not once thought that I would be doing anything like this. So,
But you're doing it.
now I'm doing it.
Now you're doing it. Yeah.
And hopefully helping a bunch of people. But ChatGPT, I built the entire business plan with ChatGPT.
That's right.
And so it's been probably over 100 hours communicating with a computer essentially, and building business plans. And I asked it hey, could you come up summarize into either a short sentence or a single word the business plan, the ethos, the spirit of Chayse life, and what I want it to represent, and what Chayse represented. And I mean, I typed this out in a long essay form to get an answer that would be relevant to get Kaizen, was what it spit it out as. And
Wow.
that's what it came up with, dude. It came up with a single word, and it gave me the definition of small incremental. It gave me the definition of, good changes,
Yeah.
and then small changes over time. And then I started researching it online and looking into it and seeing if that was actually the true definition to see if it was lying to me or not.
Yeah.
And sure shit, dude, it was.
That's
And
incredible.
it really does represent a lot of the business, and it's crazy the depths that it reaches, because Chayse, we're half Japanese. My dad is full Japanese. His parents were born and raised in Hawaii. Their parents were born and raised in Japan and came to Hawaii. His parents were, his mom was in Pearl City when it was bombed, Pearl Harbor, and they're full Japanese. And so he grew up in tough times when it was tough to be Japanese. And so, like, getting to hear some of those stories, it was embedded in our childhood and our roots. I wish that we spoke some of the language and we could go to Japan and things like that. It's a bucket list, but my brother had Japanese tattoos, and it was a big part of his personality, and he really embraced their ethos and, like, the culture and the discipline and all of that. And so the fact that it spit out Kaizen was really cool. And I have one tattoo on my chest. I only have one tattoo, and it's on my chest, and it's in Japanese. And I've had it since I was 18 or 19. Cool thing to do when you turn 18 or 19. And it says Masakatsu Aigatsu, which could be the secondism, which is true victory is victory over oneself.
Wow. Yeah, I like that a lot.
It sounds so corny, right? But, I mean, it's something that I've tried to live by for a long time. Being humble, staying humble, not comparing my journey or to anybody else's. And that helps with people coming and telling me their story, because it could be way worse, and then I could feel like, oh man, mine isn't as bad as theirs, and why would I be that sad or anything like that. And those feelings shouldn't be had. Everybody's journey is their own, and shouldn't compare others. And you want to be victorious of your own self, over your own self. And
Man, what an incredible story. Now, I know that we talk about having people come back on. Schedules are what they are, and everything. But this is by far when we say we're definitely going to have another episode with CORY.
Absolutely.
This is definitely not the first, because we're not only just excited to hear all about the things that you've been through. You have an amazing story, brother. But
and it's impossible to fit it in one episode.
It really is. It really, really is. So we're definitely going to be having another episode and more content coming out with CORY. But from all of us here at the Renewed Podcast, everybody here at New Gym, I feel very confident in saying that we appreciate your service. We appreciate your honesty and your transparency, the things that you're doing for this community, the impact that you're making. And I could say definitively, above all, we're grateful for the transparency that you have shown and the humility that goes along with that. I can really say that you have helped out quite a lot of people, including me, but people out there that may have struggled with approaching some of these hard topics like losing a loved one, how to bounce back from that, where to even go, and to just hear something as simple as Kaizen is just, hey, incrementally, you're going to get through this. It's going to happen. It does suck right now, but 1%, even 1% is 1%. And if you're getting better, then you're getting better. And that's a victory, and that you should celebrate that. And so we celebrate you. We thank you. And again, CORY, thank you so much for being down here. You were an amazing guest. Guys, give it up for CORY one more time.
Oh, man. Thank you.
So whenever we get a chance to, we'll definitely have you back. But usually we'll have Ethan do our sign-offs. With that being said, unless there's anything else you wanted to touch on real quick, I think we
Got quite a
Dude,
lot.
That was, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
One of, it's hard to talk about myself. I've hated even doing interviews because you have to give your resume and sell yourself. And that has been one of my biggest challenges. Thank you guys for helping me overcome that and encouraging me to tell my story. Um, because I am accepting that it is something that should be shared. And if I can share my brother's story and I get to talk about him, then his legacy lives on. And if it can help someone else overcome some loss, we recently had a loss in the department. Curtis Gold, he died off duty, but he was an outstanding young man, and he died too early, just like my brother. So there's a lot of guys that are feeling that loss at work. The job is hard. It really is. It stacks up. I'll be the first to tell you that we're not heroes. None of us feel like heroes. Occasionally, a few of us get to do some really heroic things. But we don't feel like we're heroes. What does stack up that even some of us won't admit is some of the shitty calls. And then having a loss at the department, that can be tremendously heavy. So if this gets back to the department and anybody's needing anything, if there's any first responders that need help, please reach out. If anybody needs any help, please reach out. Some of our cul-de-sac workouts have inspired some of the neighbors, and they're working out with us. My mom just was talking to me today like, hey, I have a girlfriend that's in town in Menifee. Can you help her out? You know, she's going through this, and this. Can you at least explain some of the benefits to maybe she could do ice bathing at home or even come and work out in the cul-de-sac with you? So, I mean, you're not the only one. That's what I'm trying to say. If anybody needs anything, please reach out. We're better together. You guys have helped me probably just as much as I've helped you, I hope. The community is one of the most important things. Chayse was great at that. He loved everyone and inspired people around him and lit up the room, you know, from being Chayse is on the case to Maui to inspiring people in the gym. They now have CrossFit workouts for him at his gym, you know, anniversary workouts. So, I mean, community is big, and we're better together. And I've been there, not that I've done that, but I can be a shoulder to cry on or someone, an ear to listen to. So hopefully my goal is that this can help at least one person. So please reach out if you need anything.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think
Beautiful.
it'd be important to put some links in the description, even for phone numbers, for
Yes.
suicide hotlines,
Yep.
or just any other sort of mental help. We'll make sure that we put that in the description, as well as some socials to get into the loop with Chayse Life and everything that is going to be happening.
Yep.
Please, everyone, be on the lookout for that. It is going to be huge within the community. The ice bath therapies and the red light therapies and the sauna therapies, it's very big, and I would encourage everyone that is in the fitness game, that is taking their health seriously, to look at the recovery aspects of it. Keep an eye on what is happening for Chayse Life, because it is coming to an area near you, and if you value your health and your recovery process, you're going to look into it and find some real serious benefits there, and this man will be able to help you along the way achieve those benefits. So with that being said, Corey, thank you so much for being here, and Ethan, why don't you go ahead and sign us out, brother?
All right. Thank you so much, Corey. We appreciate it. Cannot wait to get you back on. Guys, if you found any of this helpful, comment down below. We want to know what you were involved in, what really made it work for you. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Stay fit, stay blessed. We'll see you guys in the next pod.